やるからにはえらく目立つしかないっしょ。なんで私がドキドキしてるわけ？マジでありえない。夫婦以上恋人未満。
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Danny here. Today I'm talking to you about More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers. So this series was written and drawn by Yuki Kanemaru. This is the mangaka's first series ever done. And this is published over there in Young Ace magazine. That's a monthly one. And we've seen stuff like Blood Lad, Evangelion. I'm pretty sure I saw Erased on the list. And currently, as of this recording, there is 44 chapters. So I actually read this a while ago, and I wanted to hold off because I wanted to see if we were near the end based on what was happening in the series. But it turns out that we're just starting a new phase. And so let's just start talking about it, man. This stars our main character, Jiro Yakuin. He's a tall, quiet high school student who is very awkward around the ladies, mainly because he just doesn't know how to talk to them. He always keeps to himself, and he really just only hung out with his friend Kamo. And he has a crush on this girl in his class who is Shiori Sakurazaka. Back in middle school, he was actually going to confess because she was moving out of town. And when he was going to confess, Sakurazaka said, "Hey, I may be leaving, but I'm still glad we're going to be friends. She only sees me as a friend. This sucks. I'm not going to confess right now." But of course, little does he know, she also had a crush on him the whole time. And she was sad that she was moving and she was going to confess. But because he got the wrong impressions on what she said, he shut it down and then just walked away. But now they're in high school. They're in class together. And this school is doing a program where basically they get pairings of all the students. So they get the third years in high school, and so they're getting them prepped and act as a married couple to the point where they're going to be living together. Now, they're going to have separate rooms to sleep in, of course, but they're going to live in an apartment. And there's a thing in the apartment, and it monitors them, and they get points based off of what they do. So if they get into a lot of arguments, and it doesn't really feel like they're trying to be as a couple, they lose points. Our boy Jiro here, he's like, "Man, I gotta get in with Sakurazaka." And of course she's thinking the same thing. It would be perfect, this and that. But of course that's not the case. First girl we actually get introduced to is the main heroine of the series, which is Akari Watanabe. And she is this glamorous girl, a gyaru, I guess, if you will. And so yeah, Jiro and Akari here get paired up, and now they're living together. And Sakurazaka gets paired up with Minami Tenjin, who is the popular boy. And it turns out Akari actually has feelings for Tenjin here. And luckily for our two main characters here, there is a way to fix everything. If you are in the top rank of your class, you're able to switch with a partner you would like within the same rank. And so the goal that Jiro and Akari have is to act as a couple as much as possible, get up to that top rank, so that way they could switch with Tenjin and Sakurazaka. And then everything would be fine and dandy. So that is the main premise of the series. We have a awkward high school boy and a glamorous girl living together. And of course they butt heads constantly. And that just goes down the typical route with this kind of series, right? As they start developing feelings for each other. And the fact that they live together means there's more opportunity for that and more outrageous moments that happen, you could say. But really more connection with each other as far as them getting close, understanding a lot of things that normal people wouldn't know. Like, example, Akari is afraid of lightning, and so she has to have somebody near her. And that's where Jiro kind of comes in. And, Jiro's also learning from this experience as well. He's becoming more outspoken, more confident in himself in certain situations. He's able to relax when he's with Akari, which is a big deal because even with Sakurazaka, his crush, who he's known since middle school, he's still not as comfortable with her. to the point where he never called her by her first name, and she made that a point very early on in the series because she calls him by his first name. It's like, wait, but we've known each other for a long time. He's like, yeah, well, you know, you don't like me kind of thing, so what's the point? So I like this manga. I was hoping it was going to end soon because it could have been a great bombastic finale, but I am invested to see what this future arc is going to bring. And you always hope it's not more of the same after some major points with character development, and then for them to just keep doing the same repetitious thing. You know, we've talked about some mangas on here that are still ongoing that are doing that, and that's always a disappointment to see. Part of that, I think, has to do with the writing here. There is some faults, and that is the fact that Jiro himself is just so dense about what's going on to the point of it being frustrating for the reader standpoint, because the signs are the most obvious you will see in a rom-com series like this. There's moments with Akari where she literally just says these phrases of how I don't want anybody else than you to be my husband, and I'm only like this with you. Why is that? And so many other moments like that, especially when they're just by themselves at home. It's crazy how he's like, what does this mean? I don't understand. She's after Tenjin this whole time. And I guess that is kind of there, and maybe he's thinking she's just talking about the assignment because for the most part, they're only lovey-dovey at the apartment so they could get the point. And so when it happens outside of that, it's very confusing for him. Like they went on a summer trip. She was saying these things and never came across in his head what was going on. And that part's frustrating. And also with Sakurazaka, how she's the classic like Onodera, where she's timid and isn't too pushy on getting her relationship even closer with Jiro. And then her friend is trying to convince her, no, you have to really get in there if you want Jiro to be your boyfriend and all this stuff, if you want to confess. And it's so clear of what she wants, and he's still like, I don't understand. And there's a major point for Akari's character, and Jiro finds out about it, and he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. And I get it, there has to be a level of ignorance for your main male character, so that way a series can keep going and we could still get certain situations happen, right? The interactions between Jiro and Akari still have to have that uneasiness, but it's like, oh, they're slowly inching closer to each other as the days go by. And you can do that without making him this dumb, right? Because there's moments where even he starts mentioning stuff about Akari, and it's just like, oh, okay, he's actually, doing some stuff. But it took so long to get there. It took to the point where it was almost the end, I thought, of the series, and he's finally doing this kind of stuff. It's like, this could have happened easy 10 chapters ago. Other stuff with the writing, all the characters are great. They really stand out from one another, and their interactions are solid. A lot of wholesome moments, good comedy here and there, your typical tropes when it comes to this kind of rom-com situation, and it's all a fun time overall. Kanemaru here does a fantastic job with the expressions on their characters. It's very clear and direct of what emotions they're feeling when things are happening, and it's fantastic. Like, even from Akari like blushing to Jiro just finally being frustrated and started yelling, all the expressions are very clear, and that's really the standout here, is the faces that Kanemaru draws. Everything else is, typical slice of life, rom-com art style. But one comment I will make about the art is every now and then we get some colors, and the first thing I thought of and I kept thinking of is how the coloring is done. And it just reminds me of back in the day when you would go on whatever manga site and you would read like the new Fairy Tail or Bleach or whatever, and there's always that last page at the end that gets colored, and it tries to look like it's a still from an anime. That's just that deviant art look. And I feel like the coloring, at least very early on, really felt like that. It's just interesting. And other than all of that stuff, that's really all I have to say. Again, there's a lot of great moments between all of our characters here. So at the end of the day, I definitely recommend checking out this series. It's a good balance of the rom-com stuff, it being wholesome, and seeing your characters grow and, start to try to understand one another, and that they meet a middle ground eventually. That's all I have to say today, guys. So thank you for listening and sticking around. If you have any questions or comments, have you checked out More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers? Would love to hear your thoughts, and you could send those to unversepodcast@gmail.com. And we'll be sure to bring it up on future episodes, and then you can follow us on social media at Unverse Podcast anywhere you go, and we'll let you know when those episodes drop. So thank you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.